how that's way too vivid to just be a hallucination.
Finally locked down that dream relationship. Like, not to be dramatic, but they could be the one, look.
Me? No. You absolutely not. Hi, it's me, baby. This will be quick. The other reaction video I got more views than it usually does. So you know me, I'm a steal again. Saw Yo-Yo 808 react to How to Beat FNAF 2, so I'm like, bump it. I'm gonna do the same shit. I watch How to Beat anyway. This one is, if I check my peripheral vision, How to Beat the Cabin in the Woods Keeper. You all watch the original video, it's in the description. I won't waste any more of your time. Let's get into it, baby.
So imagine that you finally locked down that dream relationship. Like, not to be dramatic, but they could be the one, look.
Me? No. You absolutely not. Hell no.
Key. But then they want to spend your anniversary at some cabin in the middle of nowhere, and then you find out that they have a creepy cousin who lives there also, and
that's exactly how I know that's not the woman for me. One, you wanted to go in a cabin in the woods. No. In the middle of nowhere? No. No civilization? Mm-mm. And no. The cousin's gonna touch me, bro. No.
then you find out these two might be up to something. And, oh yeah, there's some freaky-ass shadow people living in the walls. Sounds romantic, am I right? Well, don't worry, because I'm here to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the haunted cabin in Keeper. Alright, we open with this couple, Liz and Malcolm, on their way out to Malcolm's cabin for their 1-year anniversary. Which is strange for Liz because she never really leaves the city, and it's also her first time holding down a serious relationship. But she has no idea how weird her life is about to get. So they pull up at the spot, and yeah, it's nice and all, architecturally speaking, but right off the bat, Liz starts to feel like something is off about the place. Like it almost feels like there's something watching her. And when she gets to—
What do you mean? You brought me here, no? Am I confused? You feel, oh, nigga, you brought... And that's the first time we need to leave. Nigga, you brought me here and you feel...
the kitchen, she finds this random cake just sitting there on the table. But Malcolm says that it's just a gift from their caretaker and acts like it's perfectly normal. Now you'd think they'd be the only ones out there, right? But when Liz looks out the window, she notices an even creepier cabin just posted up right next door. But Malcolm explains that it's just his cousin Darren's place. And even though he's kind of a weirdo, he promises that he's completely harmless. Like, yeah, sure thing, buddy. Whatever you say. Well, later, Liz is taking a bath, and she hears Malcolm humming through the vents. And strangely enough, it kinda sounds like there's a woman humming along as well. Thinking that it's all in her head, she just closes her eyes and starts to relax. But in the reflection, we can barely see this giant freaky-ass shadow monster lurking in the background. And it starts tracing a heart on the window while she's still half asleep. But when she finally wakes up, whatever it was is already gone. Alright, there's something fishy about this place, and I'm not talking about Malcolm's cooking. Like, you guys already know how I feel about any plan involving a cabin in the woods. Because even if you trust the person you're with, you still have no idea what could be out there. Like, you could end up running into Jason, Bigfoot, a zombie redneck, torture family, it's all bad.
Bro, and that's the thing with cabins just like in the middle of nowhere. Like, even if we don't go down like the what's what I'm looking for? The supernatural route. There could just be a bear out there. A bear, depending on where you are, I can't even say pissed off moose. Just a slightly annoyed moose that decides, hey, you don't exist anymore. Like something with rabies. Why am I in the woods? I don't want to be there.
bad news, so nah, I'm not going for that. But if I was actually dumb enough to go out there, then I'm packing more than just some warm socks and a beige cardigan, I can tell you that much. Like, first off, I'm bringing a survival bag with a knife, a flashlight, some pepper spray, lockpicks, a satellite phone, extra maps, water, and stuff to start a fire. And most importantly, I'm bringing the blicky, because everything I need to survive is going to be with me in case something goes down. Yeah, but it ain't just about what you put in your backpack, because sometimes you're going to need some backup. So before leaving, I'd tell at least 3 of my friends where I was going, who I was with, and when I planned on being back. And if more than a day went by,
I'm bringing 3 of my friends. This is all our anniversary. You want to go to the damn woods, so nah, I'm bringing every damn buddy.
Without hearing from me, then they'd know to send a SWAT team out there ASAP. But once I noticed that cake, I'd start getting a little suspicious. Cause like, who just leaves a cake with no note, no name on it, no nothing? So yeah, I'm gonna have to take a closer look before we start serving it up. Or at least make sure I watch Malcolm eat some first before I truss it. And then we got this voice in the vents. Like, Liz might think that it's all in her head, but I'm way too paranoid for that, so I would need a way to find out if this place had any secrets. And it made me realize something. If it's Liz's first time here, but Malcolm still hasn't even given her a tour, so that's exactly what I would do. I would ask him for a tour, acting all normal, but as he was showing me around, I'd be keeping an eye out for anything weird, like hidden rooms, locked doors, that kind of shit. And if I started noticing too many red flaggos, I would just call a friend to come pick me up and bounce. So that night, the 2 of them are having dinner when somebody rings the doorbell, which is strange because they weren't expecting any company. And Malcolm's over here acting weirdly nonchalant about the entire thing. But he finally gets up to see what they want, and who could it be but his weirdo cousin Darren and his date Minka. It only takes about a second for Liz to realize that...
Is that Spider-Man? Is that Toby?
This guy Darren is a straight up demon. And after making everyone else in the room hella uncomfortable, he asks Malcolm to go have...
That looks like Tobey Maguire's dad. I'm not the only one like seeing it, right? That 100% looks like the father of Tobey Maguire. Not that he is, just that he looks like he could be. Huh.
A quick chat in private. Now, according to Darren, his date does not speak any English, but while the girls are sitting there, Liz notices that Minka seems kinda out of it. And when she asks her what's wrong, Minka just looks at the cake and says that it tastes like crap. In English, by the way, which is weird. And once they're gone, Liz starts trying to get a little freaky with Malcolm, but then out of nowhere, he starts insisting that they need to have some cake first. So she grabs a spoon and takes a bite. And even though she doesn't really like chocolate, something about it makes her want to finish the...
Get out! Get out! Oh my god, that's what this reminds me of. Get out! Get out! You can't... Oh my... Bro, if I... Bro, Get Out changed something in me. That changed something in me. If I had a white girlfriend, I was in this situation, oh no, that changed something in me. I gotta leave.
Entire thing. Cut to later that night, and Liz wakes up from a nightmare with this weird feeling like she's being watched. So she grabs her phone and gets up to go look around, but as she reaches the hallway, she has no idea that there's some kind of alien-looking creature just watching her from the shadows. She ends up going back to the kitchen and goes straight for the rest of the chocolate cake, but as she starts digging in with her bare hands, she realizes that it's full of these weird bloody chunks. And that's not even the craziest part, because Liz just starts going hammer and absolutely crushes the entire thing. The next morning, we find that chick Minka just wandering through the woods all by herself. And it seems like she's ready to get the up out of there. But of course, she can't get any cell service to call for a ride. And that's when she starts hearing these bizarre animal noises coming from all around her. At first, she tries scaring them off, but when that doesn't work, she starts getting a little worried. So she backs up against a tree and starts looking around to see where they're coming from. But that's when everything goes quiet, and out of nowhere, the rock that she's hiding next to suddenly transforms into some kind of terrifying monster and carries her up into the trees, making 1 down with 3 more to go. Alright, well, I've heard of finger food before, but this was...
Okay, I knew Cabin in the Woods was like a very acclimated film. What do you do in this situation? Like spirits is one thing, right? Spirits is one thing. Spirits can throw things if they're on the stronger side, like make you see them possess you. like give you hallucinations, all kind of shit. What do you do when the very forest you're in is trying to kill you? The rock. Won't you tell me a rock ate a person? What do I do now? I don't have a defense for that. I can't. Like, I can maybe shoot the boulder, but then the other boulder's gonna come get me. Then the trees are gonna get me. What do I do in that situation? I have no defense or backup plan for that. Other than not going there in the first place, but that's your baby girl, possibly your baby mama. Come on, bro.
Something else. Now, I don't know where this chick Minka thought she was going, but if she was looking for a ride home, then wandering down some random trail in the woods seems like a pretty bad idea. Like, I know, let me walk even farther away from the road to see if that works. Like, what? But she obviously was too busy modeling to ever learn any real survival skills, because here's the thing, shorty. If you're ever in the woods and everything suddenly goes quiet, then buddy, you better start saying your prayers. Because you see, wild animals need to have peak senses if they're going to survive, which means they can sense danger a long time before we can. So whenever all the little birds and squirrels randomly disappear, that's how you know that something bad just pulled up. So as soon as I noticed something was fishy, I would have frozen right there in my tracks and started listening to try and figure out where it was coming from. And at the same time, I'm picking up a rock or a stick or something just in case I need to go all caveman mode. But let's be real, I'm not trying to fist fight some kind of forest demon. So once I started hearing those uncanny noises, I'm gonna start slowly backing up back towards the cabin. Cause if I could make it back there in one piece, then at least I could use that dude Darren as a meat shield and probably jack his car. Now it might be too late for Minka, but at least Liz still has a chance, and honestly, any normal person would be hella suspicious by now. Like, Minka was high-key faded off of whatever was in that cake. And then Liz had one slice, and the next thing she knows, she's waking up hours later. And why didn't Malcolm have any? And how come Liz was the only one drinking the wine? Weird. Yeah, but after what happened last night, you couldn't keep me there if you tried. I mean, Liz said herself that she hates chocolate cake. So what could have possessed her to eat the whole thing in the middle of the night? Well, I used that word possessed for a reason, because it just so happened to be 3:33 a.m. when all of this went down. And everyone knows that 3 a.m. is when all the demonic spirits come out to play. So this wasn't just a coincidence, it was the first sign that Liz is actually becoming possessed. So yeah, me personally, I wouldn't even wait until Malcolm wakes up. I would just pack my bags, call an Uber, and dip before things got any worse. When Malcolm wakes up, he's a little worried to see that Liz is already out of bed, but he finds her downstairs just aggressively sketching all these low-key horrifying faces in her notebook. And it seems like she's probably been up all night. So he gets to making some brekkie while Liz just keeps on sketching, and when he looks at the trash, he's surprised to see that she ate the entire cake in the middle of the night. But for some reason, he never really says anything about it. Checking his phone, he starts telling Liz about this patient named
You know what would be the fucking biggest concern? Girly Pop, I know damn well the only thing yo ass can draw is stick figures. And now you drawing these detailed, horrific drawings. Nah, something is up.
This is Portnoy, who's supposed to be coming out of a coma or something, and he's making a whole big thing about it, like he wants her to act all concerned, but Liz genuinely does not give a like they're supposed to be there for this big romantic weekend, and like, what the hell are you talking about, my guy? But anyways, they decide to go for a hike later, and when they reach this certain part of the creek, Liz starts acting all out of it like she's in some kind of trance. In her head, she sees this vision of these two pilgrim-looking dudes and some weird-ass pregnant lady just dancing around, but who are they? And what's up with these monsters in the freaking trees? Well, it'll all make sense soon enough. When she opens her eyes, Liz notices an old locket sitting just beneath the surface, and picking it up, she decides to keep it without mentioning it to Malcolm. Back at the house, Malcolm gets a call that his patient is not waking up, so he tells Liz that he has to rush straight to the hospital. Just like before, he's making this whole big thing about not wanting to leave her alone, but Liz is all like, whatever, man, and seems like she really couldn't care less. So he promises to get back around like 6 or 7 and mentions that there's some good wine down in the basement if she feels like getting litty.
Firstly,
as soon as he's gone,
he didn't make the joke. He didn't make the joke. Good. But secondly, I don't trust the fact that this isn't his fault. In some way, it has to be. He didn't touch the cake. She is the only one that drank wine, and the girl who died only looked at her crazy. And all of us, and his cousin is here in the woods. That he decided to go to. He knew his weird ass cousin was there, and he still I don't want any. And he's 5, and now he's talking about Miss Pertnoy, whatever the hell. No. He definitely has some shit to do with this. It is. I don't want to see him act in no type of way. Oh, what? Wait, you fucking me because you fucking got me possessed, piece of shit.
Liz calls up her bestie Maggie for a little girl chat, and she says that there's a few things about the place that are kinda weird. Like how the bathroom's the only door that actually locks, and how there aren't any blinds on the windows. But that's when she notices this weird fuzzy creature sneaking around in the trees outside. Maggie seems to think that this sick patient story was a lie, and Malcolm secretly has a wife and kids back at home, so she offers to come pick Liz up before he gets back. But Liz actually likes Malcolm and doesn't really want to hear all of that, so she curses Maggie out and hangs up the call. Like, damn. What? Now, back to that thing that she saw in the trees. When she looks towards the other cabin, she's horrified to see a woman's face sticking out of a trash bag. But when she looks again, everything's perfectly normal. So now she's really starting to feel like it was all just her imagination, but as she turns away, we see that there really is some kind of bizarre creature climbing around in the trees, so it looks like she's not so crazy after all. Alright, this place was suspicious as hell already, but now things are just getting weird. You see, Liz is making that classic mistake where she thinks that it's all in her head, but me?
Exactly. And that's one of my least favorite horror tropes in movies. Because, like, well, that and, like, people not believing a child. That, too. But, like, the thing where it's like, oh, it's all in my head, ha, ha, ha. It gets to a point where, okay, once, maybe, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's start realizing that maybe some things is going on. At the very least, something is in the air and we need to go. This has never happened to you ever in your life. Bro. Okay, fun fact about me. When I was, I don't remember the age. When I was younger, I was awake for like 2 days. 2 days non-stop. Because I had trouble sleeping at night. I went to the bathroom, right? I barely felt like I was alive, first of all. I went to the bathroom, walked through the door, turned my head fucking 90 degrees to the left. No, it was actually to the right, whichever one. I swear to you, I thought I saw a zombie. I swear, I thought I saw a rotting corpse right in front of me. Granted, it was blurry, but I knew what it was. When I tell you, I fucking screamed. Did I scream? I don't know, but brother, I was scared shitless. I turned back, that fucker was gone. I've only had that experience, like, once. Like, I maybe saw a shadow person at the top of my stairs. You're hallucinating these things multiple times. And you're having visions. You don't hurry, if you don't damn fucking, I don't know, call a priest or some shit, man.
Actually trust my gut. So with Malcolm out of the picture, it might be a good time to start looking through his First though, we gotta know if we can even trust this dude, but there's actually an easy way to figure it out. Malcolm said he was going to the hospital to check on a patient, right? So if I was Liz, I'd just call the hospital myself to see if he was actually there. All she's gotta do is say, "Hi, I'm Dr. So-and-so's girlfriend, just calling to see if he made it there safe," and that's gonna tell her one of two things. Either they'll say, "Yeah, it's all good," or they'll be like, "Who the hell is that?" And if that happens, then we just caught this dude lying. But alright, let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say that his story holds up. Well, that doesn't mean I'm just letting my guard down. Like, first, I do what I mentioned before and start checking this whole house for any trapdoors, secret rooms, you know, all that kind of stuff, and try to figure out where that humming was coming from that she heard the day before. But once I've fully inspected this cabin for anything sus, then it's time to scope out Darren's place, because we gotta be careful, because we still don't know what this dude is really capable of. So the first thing I would do is grab a flashlight and something that I could use as a weapon, and then I'd start scouting the place from the outside, looking for his car, checking his trash, peeking through the windows, just basically trying to see if anybody was home. And I'm also going to plan out some escape routes before I go in there, but once I'm sure it's empty, I'd try getting in through an unlocked window or a door and then start snooping around to see what I could find. And if I started finding any weird photos, strange symbols, chains, cages, all that kind of freaky I'm sneaking straight back out of there, calling up Maggie and saying, I need that ride after all, girl, but it's gonna take her a while to get there, and I'm not trying to be here if somebody else shows up, so I'd start sharing my location with Maggie as well. Then just start hoofing it back towards the nearest town, because personally, I'd rather take my chances on the road than stick around and see what happens. The next thing she knows, Liz wakes up on the couch next to an empty glass of wine, and weirdly, somehow her beige cardigan got put on backwards. But she's feeling a little thirsty, so she walks over to the kitchen to get herself a drink, which is when she hears a voice from behind her, and she turns around to see that girl Minka just chilling at the table. But that's not even the weirdest part here, because sitting next to her is this strange little mini-me version of herself, and they start saying some freaky stuff about those mysterious children who apparently think that Liz is like their mom or something. But that's when Liz wakes up again, and it seems like it was all just in her head, like a bad dream. It looks like a little wine spilled on the couch, so Liz goes down to the basement looking for some cleaning supplies, but accidentally forgets her phone all the way back on the second floor. She's over here trying to clean off the stain when she hears someone messing with the front door. So she nervously gets up to go and check it out, which is when that clown Darren from earlier pops up on the other side and starts asking to come in. But he's surprised when Liz answers back instead of his cousin. At first, she tries coming up with an excuse to make him go away, but he's not taking no for an answer, and since he's technically family, she eventually decides to let him in. Well, the dude just barges straight past her and starts snooping around like he's looking for something. And he's
Nigga, give me the right reason. Give me the right reason, and I will body slam my cousin. I have several. I don't think you understand how willing I am to throw away that family shit. The moment, nigga, you suggested I eat a drugged cake that was made out of most definitely human meat. I'm going to turn you into a cake. No. You don't get that title anymore. And you're not even fine. You're not my family. No. Honey, you're forgetting. Malcolm is your boyfriend. Malcolm's your boy. You're not married. He's not family. He's your partner's family. There's not even no ring on your damn finger, and still that wouldn't even count if that ring wasn't made out of some nice material other than damn diamond. No, honey, no.
Starts asking all these low-key suspicious questions about how Liz has been feeling lately, and then he offers her a glass of scotch out of nowhere, and sensing that this dude could be trouble, she decides to play along. But she acts like she's going to the restroom first and starts thinking of another way to get rid of him. There's just one problem though. Her iPhone is in the basement, so she can't call Malcolm for help, and in the kitchen, Darren grabs a butcher knife and starts creeping upstairs. But just when it seems like he's about to break in there and smoke her up, one of the shadow creatures decides to attack, and even though we don't really see what exactly happens, it pretty much just rips the dude's head off and starts dragging him up towards the ceiling, making 2 down with 2 more to go. Okay, well, I guess it could be worse, right? I mean, this dude never really had a good head on his shoulders anyway. But honestly, Liz is actually mad lucky this sleep paralysis demon just came along and third-partied Darren. But Darren showing up was actually kind of a blessing in disguise, because now it's really starting to seem like Malcolm was full of it all along. First of all, why would Darren show up expecting just Malcolm to be there when he knew that both of them were...
Wait. Okay, hold on. I don't know if he's gonna say this. Listen. He's dead. The shadow demon, first of all, that's already, showing that something else is here. But maybe that thing's looking for a vessel or some shit and needs her alive. And wants a female vessel, and the other bitch would... But yeah, it ripped its head off, right? So that means that the rest of of the dude is still there. I'm just gonna call him Kevin. That means the lower half of Kevin is still there. take that lower half, take its keys, run to his car, get the fuck out of there. You have an escape route now. That is the only option you need to take now.
Supposed to be staying all weekend for their anniversary, and it seemed like he was ready to celebrate something, which is hella weird when you think about what he said before he knew it was Liz. Talking about some what's done is done type shit. Like, what the is that supposed to mean? But yeah, it definitely feels like he wasn't expecting Liz to be there, so the question is why? Were they gonna break up, or was it something worse? Either way, it definitely seems like Malcolm cannot be trusted. By this point, I just want to get the heck up out of there, but it's not that simple, because now we gotta deal with these shadow people. And since Liz lost her phone, she ain't calling for help, so that makes things kinda complicated. The biggest problem is that she's never actually seen one of these creatures, so basically she has no idea what she's up against. The first thing I would do is just go totally quiet and keep listening for any more sounds, because, you know, in case you haven't noticed, this dude Darren never shuts up, so if more than a minute goes by without him making some kind of offensive comment, then I'll already know that I've got some trouble. Now, if whatever just ate Darren started trying to break down the door, then I would just grab something heavy and use it to smash one of the windows and then jump outside and run for my life. Simple. Otherwise, I'd grab anything that I
No, but you can't do that though. The rocks are evil too. This is why I say how, like, listen, I would agree with you if I didn't see a rock eat somebody. Now you've lost me. Now I don't know what to do.
could use as a weapon, and then, once it felt like I was safe to go out, I'd carefully sneak back down to the basement, grab my phone, and just leave. Like, since Malcolm's obviously up to something, I'd want to be gone before he came back, so if I could find Darren's car keys and borrow his car, great, but if not, I would just start walking until I hit some service, then call a friend to come pick me up and figure out the rest later. Meanwhile, Liz hears this dude upstairs getting wrecked through the bathroom door, but once the noises stops, she decides to go out there and see what the hell happened. To her, it seems like Darren finally decided to leave, but she's getting more and more worried as time goes by. So she goes back to get her phone and tries to call Malcolm, but of course he is not picking up. Which is when she hears the record player turn on by it.
So you're telling me the sound of bone? You're telling me the sound of bone crunching and squelching, and the sound of a dude being torn apart by shadow people, that wasn't a concern to you? Like, guess she left. I don't. How much can we blame on that cake drug, bro? It gets to a point.
Itself, and as she goes to check it out, something opens the door right behind her. But she makes her way back to the kitchen when the music slowly starts to fade out, and suddenly the garbage disposal starts going all crazy. It's like there's something down in there on some Silent Hill Resident Evil survival horror type shit, and taking a closer look, she's shocked to find Darren's gold watch stuffed inside. But while she's distracted, she doesn't notice this creepy pale hand slowly reaching around the corner. This is when she turns around to find the spirit of a woman with a bag over her head just sitting there at the table. And the spirit makes a little I love you sign with her hands before suddenly vanishing into thin air. But when it disappears,
Alright, so we agree this isn't in your head anymore, right? That's a conclusion we're coming to now, right? How that's way too vivid to just be a hallucination.
Leaves behind a fresh cake, just like the one from the night before. Now, by now, you guys can probably guess that Liz has finally had enough, so she goes straight to the bedroom and starts packing her shit. She's ready to take Maggie up on that ride, but when she calls, she can't seem to get a good connection, and now her friend's acting like she won't pick her up. But the whole time, she has no idea that one of the creatures is standing right behind her, and it starts leaning forward with this crazy long neck until it's right over her head. I mean, that joint looked crazy, man. Defeated, Liz hangs up on the call and she starts feeling like there is
crazy, but respectfully, some niggas going for it. Not saying it's me, but
It's when Malcolm finally gets back from the hospital, if that's really where he was this entire time, but instead of saying anything, Liz just waits for him to notice her standing there. He seems genuinely shocked at it when he finally spots her, and Liz lets him know that she ain't too happy. Like she's been trying to call him all day. And what's with these freaky...
You know what that terrifying thing is? That's, bro, he fully expected her to be dead by now. He is wondering how the hell is she alive?
ass bag ladies that keep showing up, but Malcolm acts like he has no idea what she's talking about, and the more Liz starts to explain, the more she starts to realize how crazy it all sounds. Still, she has her bags packed up and wants to get the hell out of there. So Malcolm agrees to take her home, but he needs just a few minutes to get some stuff together. So in the meantime, Liz asks him to go around the house and make sure that no one is there. But the more that time passes, the more she starts to doubt herself, until eventually she takes off her jacket and sits down to think it over. Well, just when she's starting to calm down, Malcolm comes in and scares her on purpose, like, bro, not a good time. But she notices that he's hiding something in his jacket. So he pulls out this fresh bottle of wine and starts acting all goofy and apologetic. And even though she is still pretty mad at him, it doesn't take long before he convinces Liz to stick around. All right, now come on, Liz. What are we even doing here? Like, this dude is obviously just gaslighting her, and the worst part is Liz is falling for it. Like, I've already seen enough that I know it's time to split. Like, for real, my boy Malcolm is acting like he incredibly sus. Ever since he got home, like, he didn't just look surprised when he saw Liz standing there, he looked like he just saw a Giz host. But why would you be so caught off guard unless he wasn't expecting her to be there? And why didn't he say something like, Liz, I'm home, when he got back? And why didn't he just call her back when he saw all her missed calls? Something definitely is off with this dude, and now he thinks he can just win her over with a bottle of wine? That same wine that's been making her all sleepy and giving her these terrifying visions? Yeah, I don't think so, my guy. He might have Liz fooled, but he ain't fooling me. So here's what I would do. First, I'm calling the hospital, like I've said a bunch of times already, but whatever that part of the story turns out to be true or not, the next thing I'm gonna do is look through Malcolm's phone, because if you remember back when that creep Darren was here, Liz heard him on the phone with someone right before he disappeared, so if I check Malcolm's phone and see that he answered a call from Darren at the same time that he was ducking calls from me, yeah, I'm taking the keys and ditching him with no hesitation. And speaking of Darren, why isn't Malcolm a little more concerned that he just disappeared? Like, does he normally just show up, stuff his rollie in the garbage disposal, and then vanish into thin air? Because that seems a little weird to me. But Malcolm over here just completely brushed it off.
Yeah, okay, it's one thing to, like, tweak out about me still being alive. You're not worried about where your brother is. Like, it was like your brother's plan to murk me. So why the hell are you not concerned about him or his wife? Well, you're not concerned about the wife for obvious reasons. He has to know about the spirits. He has to. Because, like, where would his brother be? Where would his brother's quote-unquote wife or girlfriend be?
Like, mad sus. And we haven't even talked about all this freaky ghost stuff that's been going on. Like, I don't know if this is some kind of Conjuring type situation or what. But one thing I do know is that record players don't just turn on by themselves. So unless there's an explanation for that, then I've got no plans on sticking around to see what other Luigi's Mansion type shit is gonna happen here. Like, at this point, I'm not even gonna wait for Malcolm to drive me home, because he'll probably just come up with another lie. So instead, I'm just gonna grab my phone, look up the nearest town, and just dip without saying anything. Because honestly, I would rather take my chances hitchhiking than dealing with all this. So they're kicking back, listening to some music, having a couple drinks, when Liz mentions that Malcolm got home hella early. He plays it off saying that he must have beat the traffic, but that's when she asks about Mrs. Portnoy, the old lady at the hospital, and dude deadass goes, who's that? Oh, he catches himself 2 seconds later, and trying to cover it up, he starts going into this whole long-winded explanation about how she died peacefully and her family was there and blah blah blah, but it is way too late. Liz just caught him fibbing, and now she thinks that she was really just a side piece all along, but the truth is actually something much, much worse. So Liz gets all mad and storms off to the restroom, as she should, where she starts yelling at herself like, man, why am I so freaking dumb? Malcolm follows her up a minute later, and the first thing he has to say is, I hope you're not pregnant. Like, bro, really? But nah, Liz says it's nothing like that. She's just mad because she thinks that he's got a wifey, but Malcolm swears that it ain't true and starts asking her to come out so they can talk. And just then, she hears this strange noise coming from the vents and looks down to find this old photograph lying on the floor. And when she picks it up, she realizes that it's actually a photo of Malcolm with another woman and 2 little girls.
No. And the worst part is that's a black and white photo. No. Bro, I'm trying to imagine this scenario with me and my ex, cause I'm trying to think now, like, cause like love messes with emotions and shit and all that, right? I'm trying to see it from that perspective. to see if like to like get from like get in her head from like outside the in like outside the outsider perspective. And even then, I'm just thinking now, like, my partner's been acting weird. They brought me to this creepy ass cabin that they knew I didn't want to go to for an anniversary. They took me to the same cabin, mind you. Could take me anywhere else, but they take me to the same cabin, to the creepy ass cabin with their cousin that they know is a weirdo that will make everybody uncomfortable. But they still take me here. Not only that, they let them in, make me eat this weird ass cake. Only one drinking wine. I'm hearing voices. I'm getting headaches. Take me outside, knowing I don't want to be outside. They leave in the middle. They leave for like, like a day? They're leaving me with their creepy ass cousin. And all of a sudden, when they get back, I'm telling them all this. They're telling me I'm crazy. Proceed to try and gaslight me when I know what I saw, because I've been seeing ghosts and heard a man get murdered. And then they make a joke about me fucking, like, pregnancy jokes, and now I see a picture of them, an old picture, mind you. With no, bro, no, I'm not. I've never loved anybody that much. I straight tell my partner, hey, I'll buy you whatever it is you lost again. We're not going. I'm not staying in here a second longer. Either you're coming with me, or I'm gonna call an Uber for you.
But the photo looks like it's from back in the 1950s, and Malcolm still looks exactly the same. So what the hell gives here? This is when Malcolm opens the door, cause yeah, the lock never actually worked in the first place. And after showing him that photo, Liz starts saying that she wants to go home. But now this dude's all like, that is not gonna happen. So obviously Liz starts freaking out, you know.
Okay, alright, well, Liz is a fucking moron. Okay, you know what? I can't blame it on the cake anymore. You're actually a fucking idiot. Holy shit. Why would you show him that picture? Okay, you're clearly now aware that something is up with it. You now have confirmation that Malcolm is up to some bullshit. So you show him the picture. While your back is against the wall, you are trapped, and you currently don't have the keys to get out. You are a fucking idiot.
Demanding to know who this guy really is and all that. And he starts going off on this whole explanation about how he's just a regular dude, but not really though, because he does have a couple secrets that make things a little more complicated. And it seems like Liz is about to find out whether she wants to or not. So, feeling trapped, Liz just gives in and sits down to hear what he has to say. Alright, now, I don't know why we're still sticking around to hear this guy out, but now that Liz knows he's been lying to her this whole time, we need to start treating this dude like a threat. I mean, the minute that Liz started getting confrontational, Malcolm basically just told her to play along, or else. And as far as I'm concerned, those are fighting words, my man. Like, especially after figuring out that this dude hasn't aged in 100 years. Like, whatever Count Dracula type he's got going on here, I do not want any part of it. No, no, no. So if he's straight up threatening me or on our anniversary, nah, I'm not letting that slide. Now, whatever's going on with all these weird old pictures and ghosts of bag ladies past, I'm honestly not even worried about it, because at this point, this is about survival. So my only concern is getting the fuck up out of here and away from Malcolm. The good news is he's definitely not expecting Liz to try anything, which means that she has the element of surprise, and as far as we know, he's just a regular guy, you know, besides the whole never aging thing, but he doesn't have any magical powers or strength or anything like that, so until proven otherwise, regular hits should work. So as soon as I realized this dude wasn't letting me leave peacefully, I'd simply wait for the second that he let his guard down, then grab whatever's nearby and just clobber him with it before he even knows what happened. Then I would grab his car keys off the shelf by the door, run out to the car, and dip out of there before he even got up. Simple as that. And once I was safe, I could just call the cops and let them deal with that shit. Easy. Well, Malcolm starts off by explaining that he really does love her, so he low-key feels bad about what's about to happen. But that's when he finally drops the whole act. He says that the cake was supposed to make her sleepy, but somehow she managed to tank the entire thing, and those people who she's been seeing, well, they ain't people. But the truth is, he really doesn't even know what they are. You see, way back in the day, like over 200 years ago, Malcolm and Darren were out hunting in the woods when they spotted this freaky-ass witch lady posted up by the creek. And the crazy thing is that she looked exactly like our girl Liz here. But the boys didn't like her doing witch stuff in their neck of the woods, so Malcolm upped the musket and just blasted her as she tried to run away. It wasn't really a fatal shot, so they took the injured woman and dragged her back to the pig shed. But the thing is, the woman was pregnant, and she ended up giving birth right there on the Spizot. But what came out...
Okay, here's my thing though. It's a witch! Literally a normal woman just out in the woods minding her business. That's another thing about Salem witch trials. I'm sorry I'm pausing so much, but I can't just play the video, bro. But like, if it was a witch, do you really think that y'all by yourselves would be able to take down a witch if they're that much of a threat? Bro, if I'm a witch, I'm burning this entire fucking village in 5 minutes. With 5 seconds. If I'm that much of a threat to where the entire town needs to jump my ass. No.
There was no baby, I can tell you that much. In the middle of the night, the boys came back to find out that all their piggies were gone, and all that was left were these giant umbilical cord looking things leading over towards the witch. When they went over to check on her, she looked up at them with this demonic glow in her eyes, so Malcolm took his musket out and, finished the job, but the story did not end there. So before he gets to the next part, he started telling Liz this fairy tale about a magical fish that was stuck on a hook, and it offered to grant the fisherman 3 wishes to throw it back in the water, but in its dumb little fish brain, it realized that it never could just free itself. Well, the creatures are kinda like the fish, cause for the last 200 years, they've been trapped in the shadows, while Malcolm and Darren have been using their magic to live forever. All they gotta do is feed them every once in a while to keep it going, and I'll give you 3 guesses to what their favorite food is. So yeah, now it all makes sense. Malcolm brought Liz here like some kind of demonic DoorDash, and obviously she is not that excited about it. And that's when they hear something big scuttle across the roof. Terrified, Liz gets up and runs for the back door, but it's not.
Wait, hold on. In this case, okay, I was gonna say in this case, why not just tell them that, hey, why not just tell them like, hey, it's fine. I already fed them. Well, they fed themselves. They got your brother Darren deserved. If I'm gonna lie. Secondly, why do you fall in love to feed it things? I feel like there's a far better way of doing this. Well, not a moral way, but like a less like time-consuming way. Just like every couple of years, just get like, I don't know, just kidnap somebody. It's honestly less like incriminating than you having a partner, and then like that partner's family knowing about you, and then when they disappear, you're the first subject. Nah, bro, hold on, just kidnap somebody. Both of these people are idiots.
Not budging, and neither will the front, because according to Malcolm, these creatures already sealed them in with their powers. So she gets up and goes for her phone next, but it's dead. And while she has her back turned, this horrifying long-haired demon thing comes crawling up to the steps and climbs straight up the wall. Liz does sense it watching her, and since she's looking around, its drool starts dripping down from the ceiling right above her. But for some reason, it still doesn't attack, so she takes off running until she reaches the balcony. This time, the door actually does open, but there's nowhere left to go besides a steep drop straight into the water, so Liz decides that her only choice is to try climbing down Assassin's Creed style. As she's reaching out across the gap, she looks up to see these horrifying creatures staring down at her, and she gets so scared that she accidentally loses her grip and plunges into the river. Alright, now I know they're on vacation and all, but is this really the best time to be going for a swim skis? Seriously though, Liz just fumbled this one hard. But if she was thinking more clearly, then surviving this should have been easy. Now I can see why she would be terrified after finding out that these shadow monsters were real. But when you look at what we already know about them, they're actually not as scary as you might think. Hear me out. They say the best way to overcome your fear of something is to understand it, and paying attention to how these freaks behave might actually tell us what they're afraid of. You see, this entire time they've been lurking in the shadows and trying to avoid being seen, so to counter that, I would just expose them. Like basically, I would run around the house turning on all the lights so they would have nowhere to hide. Then I'd look for a flashlight, or even a mirror, and anytime I heard one of those things nearby, I would shine the light or hold up the mirror straight to the shadows and just be like, hey, and who knows, maybe they would be too scared to attack. I know that sounds like I'm trying to scare a ghost, but I am. But Liz has a whole secret weapon up her sleeve, because if she was paying attention, she would have realized that she looks just like these things' mom. So if I was her, then I would just start leaning into that and just be like, hey.
Oh, that's why they want her alive. Oh, it makes so much more sense now. Okay. So that's why with all the other people they brought in, it just like their plan worked all the time. But with her, she keeps getting ignored. Oh, and that's why when Malcolm went to go, not Malcolm, Dennis, I think it's Darren. That's why when Darren went to go kill her, they attacked him because they're attacking their mother. I probably clocked that like 20 minutes after y'all did.
It's me, yo mama. How about you eat this other guy instead? And then boom, these freaks would be on her side and she could let them take Malcolm out, and then they'd even grant her wishes. Easy money. So you're probably thinking Liz is done for, right? And yeah, so is Malcolm, but the story is not over yet. Later that night, Malcolm's over here listening to some sad music and going through all her old stuff, just reminiscing about the good times and all that. But at the end of the day, it was all just a part of the cycle, so he puts her stuff in a box and sticks it on a shelf next to all of his earlier victims. And he starts introducing Liz to the other girls, all low-key proud of himself, but what he doesn't realize is that the girls have other plans. Meanwhile, Liz wakes up to find herself trapped in some deep part of the basement, and as she looks around, she notices this strange altar-looking thing just chilling down there in the darkness. Which is when this bizarre creature with a horrifying pale face crawls up to the altar and lights one of the candles before disappearing back into the shadows. And instead of freaking out, Liz just sits there watching as it pulls out this big jar of honey or something, but she's so distracted that she doesn't even notice a second monster slowly crawling down the steps. The first one opens the jar with these weird, uncanny motions before reaching inside and pulling out a human head. But it's not just any head, it's their freaking mother's. And it takes the thing and sticks it on top of the altar like it's some kind of messed up Christmas tree. Which is when Liz hears someone humming in the darkness. That same humming that she heard when she first got to the house. And as it got closer, she realizes that it's the girl with the bag over her head. But the creature just keeps getting closer and closer until it ends up right in front of her. And Liz decides to ask this thing what the hell it is. Well, it turns out that the bagged lady can talk, and it says that they're actually her kids, plus the vengeful spirits of all the other girls who fell for the trap. So basically, these things think that she's their mom, the witch lady from back in the day, and that explains why they never really attacked her. But that's when it finally decides to take the bag off, and I think I speak for everyone when I say that it can go ahead and put that shit right back on. And after just kind of staring at her for a second, it breaks out in this weird, uncanny laughter, and Liz starts laughing right along with it, as all of its friends come out and start surrounding her. Upstairs, Malcolm hears Liz screaming and figures that it's done dotted, so he just turns up the music and waits until it all goes quiet. But that night as he's lying in bed, he wakes up with this really strange feeling like he's being watched, and when he looks at his hand, he realizes that he has been aging. He starts coughing and gasping for air like he's trying to hack up something, but just when he finally gets it under control, he hears a woman's voice calling him from the hallway. And when he looks over, all he sees is that freaky long-necked demon coming his way, because they finally decided to turn on him after all. Alright, well, in the end, it looks like Malcolm's gonna have to face the one thing that rich people fear the most, which is the consequences of their actions. Cause I guess after 200 years of letting him boss them around, the shadow people finally wised up and realized that they could just eat him instead. And when that happens, there really is only one thing left to say: Malcolm, my boy, you done did it up. I've seen people make a lot of dumb mistakes over the years, but this one might actually take the cake. Yeah, that seems appropriate here. But seriously, who sees a pregnant...
Okay, but here's my question though. Okay, they kill him, right? Granted, don't get me wrong. that him dying is fantastic. He is a bad person. He is a bad person. He killed a pregnant lady and caused all of this, and has been killing women for ages. Um, but after he dies, where are these things gonna go? Because they like to eat people, and he was kind of like feeding them periodically. I guess like every like couple years, to where if he looked different, like he could be blamed for it. Because how the hell would he even still be alive? So just people that look like him. Even though that's kind of if these things get let go, are they just gonna start eating people like crazy? Because they don't have a reason to not go crazy? Or after what do they get full? What's the deal here?
Witch doing some kind of ritual in the woods and says, you know what? I want to shoot that thing. And then after doing that, you decide to take this lady to your crib? Like, what? I mean, either finish the job or just don't get involved in the first place. But the absolute last thing you want to do is jump a damn witch and then give her time to think about it afterwards. I mean, that would be dumb enough by itself, but then you want to take the literal demons that she just gave birth to and then turn them into your servants? Yeah, I'm sure that's going to turn out great. Like, I'm honestly surprised it took them this long to turn against you. But anybody with a single brain cell would have seen this coming from like a mile away. And now that it's finally over, I think it's pretty safe to say that you f***ed up. Now, just like with his cousin, we don't get to see exactly what these creatures do to Malcolm once they get him, but from what we hear, it sounds pretty freaking bad. But he isn't dead though, at least not yet anyway.
Damn.
And the next morning he finds himself dangling upside down from a tree. He starts screaming and trying to call for help, but he's so old now that he can barely get anything out. And when he looks around, all he sees are a bunch of blurry shapes, because now he's got the vision of an old man as well. That's when he sees Liz coming towards him, and of course he starts begging her to let him down. But as she gets closer, he realizes that something about her has changed. Well, it turns out that the shadow people decided that they liked her better. So they decided to make Liz his replacement, which is bad news for Malcolm here, because that means that he has gotta go. And now it's time for him to have some cake. He tries apologizing one last time, but Liz says she's actually pretty happy with the way things have turned out. And since she's gonna feed it to him one way or another, he finally gives up and decides to have a slice. But Liz is not done with this dude yet. Oh no, she's got something special planned for Pops. And while he's dangling upside down, she slowly lowers his head into a big jar of honey and lets him drown. So in the end, that does make 3 down, with Liz as the only survivor, I guess. And it looks like she's gonna be taking over as the demon's new mom, but one thing's for sure, this was definitely the weirdest breakup movie that I've ever seen. Keeper 2025, that was... You already know. Osgood Perkins, get at me, dog. But yeah, what'd you guys think about this movie, and would you have done anything differently? I'm stretched kind of thin, you know?
Personally, I would have where she went wrong the most was showing him that damn picture. I would have grabbed those keys, gotten the hell out of there. Personally, becoming a demon mother. What do I even do after that? I become like the creature's new mother. Yeah. Do I stay in the cabin now? Do I like bring people over to feed them? Can I teach them the joy of pork chop and 5-star Wagyu? So I don't have to kill people? Like, what do I do now? Or am I just immoral because I'm possessed, so I don't care? Sure, I get... Wait a second! Where was the rock? What was the rock? Hold on. Hold on. There wasn't a single rock demon there. What was the rock that killed that girl? There was a rock. What took her into the trees? Something's wrong here. But, yeah, that was How to Beat. I turned this bitch into 53 minutes. Fucking hell.